Hey, welcome back to Score on Business. So, Robbie, before the break, you were telling us that if people work hard and they have a good idea and they can hear what investors are telling them and suggestions, they can get funding. Tell us a little bit more. Go in depth a little bit.
Yeah, you know, an entrepreneur needs to execute. It's all about what the entrepreneur, who they are, and what they do in execution of the idea. Ideas are worthless unless there's execution behind them. So in my case, you know, I started with this idea in 2013 and have grown it till now. It took me 2 years to be able to get to the point where investors are actually attracted to the model, because we now know how to grow it into other markets, and you know, we're becoming an industry leader. But for the first 2 years, I didn't have enough knowledge personally, nor did we have enough traction in the market to be able to get investors. So it really, you really need to, it's a process and it's a relationship. So it really takes a while, and I don't think entrepreneurs understand that. You know, my funding has taken 8 months, and they've known me for 2 years. So it's a large process, and it'll be an ongoing process because now they own part of the company.
Right. And then owning part of it. And another thing I don't think a lot of folks realize, that with investors, that's not free money that you know, they've just given you. Tell us about what they expect, what can happen if they're not happy, etc.
Yeah, so you know, investors are your boss. They are your boss, and when everything's good, they don't get in your business too much. But when things go down, then yeah, they're going to step in. You know, so they buy a portion of your company. In my case, they bought a portion of my company, the equity in it, for a discount. So they bought it at today's value, hoping that in 6 years we will sell the company for a much larger value. So it's a very expensive. Equity is the most expensive thing you can give up as a founder of a company, because what they bought in now, in 6 years, it's going to cost much more. So you know, they're leveraging their money to make a lot more on the back end. And yeah, they all have board seats and options, and if you're not performing, you know, essentially they can get rid of you.
Right. What about, do you see it happen where the investors will start having a different vision? Like, say, for example, that the founder wanted to see things go in a certain direction, and the investors realize that they aren't good with that.
You know, I don't think that should ever be a big issue. If that does become an issue, then there's obviously communication errors and you know, missteps between the team and the investors. But you know, I think at the beginning, if you lay out a good roadmap of where you're going, and as long as you stay there and keep your investors updated of any changes. I made an internal change the other day, and I called all my investors first and said, hey, this is what I'm thinking and this is why I'm thinking. And they all signed off on it.
So it's really no surprises, keep them in the loop, ask. And the Entrepreneur Center has the wonderful incubator program, or programs, I guess I should say. Could you talk a little bit about those? They're 14 weeks. Who are they good for, and what gets covered in that 14 weeks?
Yeah, the Entrepreneurs Accelerators are invaluable to entrepreneurs. You know, I was one of the founders or creators of Project Music, which is the music technology accelerator at the EC, and it's a 14-week program that brings entrepreneurs that have a solid idea through all the resources they need: education, mentors, funding, essentially a one-stop shop to create a business. And you know, most of the companies that have been launched out of the EC wouldn't be possible without going through those programs. So they're a huge helper in the city of Nashville and in the industries we support.
Okay, and we're closing in on the end of the interview, but the incubators are specifically for companies that want to pursue funding. Is that a correct statement?
Mostly correct. Most companies that go through incubators go for funding afterwards. It doesn't have to be that way. A lot of them use them for the resources. You know, usually if you just do it for the money, you're there for the wrong reason, because the real benefit is the knowledge and the power behind the people involved. But most of the companies come out of the incubators looking to raise capital.
Okay, got it. Robbie, thanks so much for being here.
Of course. Thank you.
Okay, we'll be right back.